guys, it's Button Freak here, back with another video. Today we are on to the next Ruby character, Blake Belladonna, the female cat of the group. She is one of the better Ruby characters, as most people call her one of the best characters in the game. I don't think she's one of the best characters in the game. She is up there, but she is not top 5. She has the tools to be top 5, but she doesn't have like all the necessities that top 5 players characters have. But without all of that, she is still one of the better characters on the Ruby team, probably one of the best. If just for like more simpler players, if you are trying technical, Ruby is one of the better ones too, but Blake is up there. In a couple other videos, especially the Weiss video, I feel like I went a little too fast, especially for Weiss, since she's one of the more technical characters, and I feel like I should go back on her. I might not do a whole video on her, but I might go over especially her glyphs and how everything works with her and how to play her, because I think I went a little too fast. So especially with that, I'm going to move slower down with Blake, because she's one of the better players. So I want people, especially if you're new to fighting games, to get used to this game and get a gist of how people play. I'm also, for newer players, I'm not going to do the citation stuff, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the directions, just for people to know, diagonal down like this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7, this is 8, and this is 9. I'm not going to do those no more, but for the last 2 videos, if you wanted to go back, if you knew what I was talking about, you can check those out now. But I'm just going to say down, standing, forward, back, and up, all those stuff, because it's going to be easier for people who are trying to play the game and learn the game to know how to do all these stuff. If you like these longer videos and more specific guides, please talk and type in the comments down below. If you like the quick, short videos that I was doing with the last 2 characters, then comment down below too. I would love to hear the feedback, but I don't know right now, because, you know, these are character guides, and depending on how people want to know them, they just want to know something quick, but for beginners, they want to know how to play these characters if they want to play as them. But for the 3, we're going to go over the normals, we're going to go over the skills, we're going to go over the distortions, and we're going to go over the actual how to play her, and maybe some synergies and some combos at the end, just for fun, because then we're going to go over her fully. Without further ado, we're going to go over her main gimmick, her B attacks, all her B attacks. They are her main gimmick. What she's mostly used for is keeping space with all her B attacks. Her B attacks have this little thing called an edge, or a point where the edge of her blade actually does bonus damage. Not jumping B, but her standing B and her crouching B have these special unique gimmicks. If you hit with the edge of the blade, they do this little thing. They give you an extra like boost and a little ability. So if you hit the edge of the blade, you are able to jump cancel after it. You also do extra damage, and standing B actually knocks your opponent up. Crouching B does not knock your opponent up, but you still can jump cancel after it. If you hit with the cord of the blade of the cord of the attack, you just do less damage, and you don't get the jumping. You can't jump cancel after it, which kind of sucks. It also doesn't put much of my stun time, it doesn't put it into the air. Her jumping B is actually really important to hit with the blade, as the cord actually doesn't even have a hitbox. If I can hit this, as you see right here, doesn't even have a hitbox. So you want to be keeping that space as I was talking about, and make sure you're in range where you can hit the blade part, because the cord does not have damage when you're doing jumping B. These moves are what you're mainly going to be using. This is her B auto combo. But this is what you're going to be mostly using when you play her, because you want to be controlling this little area you have with the blade. Now, since only just because she has all those long range moves does not mean she cannot control the space in front of her and close range, which her A attacks, which are not bad. She has her crouching A, which isn't the best. It actually isn't even a low. I like to call these moves the fake lows, as they actually crouch down and it looks like they're going to hit you low, which can get people to crouch low if they don't know how to play against Blake, which can make you go do like 2 of these and then go into overhead crash, which is really good. But it's not the best, as again, it doesn't hit low. You also can do her auto combo that actually lunges you into the air if you hit it 4 times and don't hit anything, which is really good for combos and setups, which are going to talk about later. But knocking your opponent into the air from just an A auto combo, which most people can't do, is a really good move, especially since it brings you into the air with them too. Her A full auto combo is this, which you really can't do anything after, but you know, most people's you can do. Her jumping A is actually probably one of the worst getting tools, not the worst getting tools, but the weaker getting tools, especially from the Ruby cast, as she can't really do anything, especially against short characters. As against Hakume and maybe Tager and Wallstein, she can do excellently with this, as it does 2 hits and stuff like that. But against other characters, this move is really not going to help us, especially against Chie, Ruby, Jubei, short characters like that. Maybe Agnes, we can hit this. As you see, it just whiffs over her head. Even the first hack is definitely going to whiff over the head unless you delay it a lot, and it's just going to be more to think about when you're fighting. So this move really isn't really good for overheads. But something that really is good for overheads, and I want to talk about a lot, is her jumping C. Her jumping C is a pretty good overhead as it teleports. More like Yosuke's, if you know how he is. He teleports and actually hits low. This is the same thing, but actually just hits high. And what's something that's really important, as if you do a jumping, if you dash, when you're doing this, you actually can get a full screen overhead, which is one of the best tools you possibly can get. Most characters in the game, or no characters in the game, actually can do this, which is one of the probably sneakiest things you do. People who are trying to play safe, or people who are trying to raid you out, especially like an Angus. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it, but she has a lot of projectile moves, so you can jump over it, and if you can time it right. But let's see if I can do this again. Oh, as you saw before, though, you can just get a full screen overhead, which is really good and really tricky. Sneak people. I cannot hit this again. As you see right there, sneak up on people, hit them with an overhead if they're blocking low. Most people won't expect you to attack if you teleport, as I told you before, so it's going to kind of trip them up, and it's a really good move. Her crash is the same, just as her jumping. See, not bad. It's one of the faster ones in Ruby. Actually doesn't jump as far as most Ruby characters do, and she comes down faster, so it's pretty good. And her crouching C is probably one of the better crouching C's in the Ruby cast, right behind Weiss. It's pretty good. It has pretty good range, and you can do a couple good things with it. For partner skills, we're gonna go over next. She doesn't have the best partner skills, and for range, she's all right with. Her forward P is her boomerang shot that we'll go over next, but it's a pretty good ground covering projectile that it brings your opponent into you, and it leads them into kind of like a sliding knockdown state, which is really good. Her P, just standing P, is it's kind of like a dash. It pretty well, but it doesn't have a lot of range, and it goes up into the air. So people who are kind of low to the ground, especially after you end the combo, it's kind of not going to be hit by this. And people who are even like a couple feet away from them, if they're, I say, crouching, you're not going to be able to hit them. So this move really, actually, as the range looks like it has a lot, it does not have that much range as you think it is. Her back P is her anti-air or a get off me tool type of assist. It actually kind of jumps in front of your U, which is pretty good. Most don't do that, but then again, it doesn't have a lot of range to begin with, and she can't really combo into herself like most people can, like Ruby can, or she can combo into herself after doing that, since she does jump into the air. But it's still pretty good a get off me tool and a pretty good combo continuer, as it leads them right into the air for people who can do continuous combos. Since we go over her partner skills and her normals, let's go over her skills. Her goals to go forward A and B are 2 gunshots and a 3 gunshot move. They both are the same move, but with some different properties in them. Course to go forward A is the weaker version, as it does less damage, but it is a faster version. It has a fixed angle, so no matter where your opponent is, it's gonna go at the fixed angle. This is neutral on block, so if you both are blocking, you both have the same recovery frames, so you both start up at the same time. So whoever hits the button faster or moves faster is just going to be able to do something. This is mind the fact, try to get the timing down so you are the one hitting buttons first, so you actually can hit them before they hit you. Her goal to go for a C, her goal to go for a B is a longer range version that hits 3 times its harder damage, and actually is plus on block. But the thing, catch is that it has a way more startup frame. So if you do this in a block string, something like this, as you saw, it does not combo into it. So you just gotta make sure that you know what you're doing. Maybe people will block more, and if they're blocking, then you can hit them with this gunshot move. It's plus on block, so you're gonna recover faster than they do, so you can hit buttons faster. Just again, get the timing with this. You you should also know that these gunshots are lows, so they do hit low. If I have the dumbest that I have standing and they can't swap, as you see, hits low. These gunshots are low, so most people won't react to a gunshot blocking low, which is really good. Her course to go for C is her boomerang move that we saw before, and it's an alright projectile. For long range, I guess it does pretty good damage. When Resonance Blaze, it does pretty good tick damage, but other than that, it really isn't really that useful. You can't really get it in combos because it has a weird hitbox. It doesn't hit too high on the screen, but it doesn't actually hit sliding people. Anyone who's crouching, not crouching, but like sliding on the ground, it does not hit, which kind of weakens the point for combos. But people who are in the air, something like this, you can hit combos something like that. I don't really do it like that because it does waste a bar for one projectile that does only 2 hits and doesn't do a lot of damage, but it's still a okay projectile, especially for Blake, who doesn't really have a lot of projectile moves. Of course, to go back, attacks are more of the complicated versions of complicated buttons, as they have 3 different versions and then 3 different unique abilities after the versions. You have, of course, to go back A, B, and C, and then after those you have buttons that do different things. Of course, to go back, A is a kind of a slash attack, which can cross up behind your opponent. It doesn't do a cross up, but if you hit A after it, you can cross up. If you delay it enough, you actually can cross up and do a full back and forth cross up, which people most block, especially in the beginning of a round, or people who don't know how to play Blake against Blake. This is gonna hurt them so much because this will just keep crossing them up and they won't know how to block this. Hitting B after this actually just does a lunging overhead, which not an overhead, but it just leaves them into kind of a stun position. Probably one of the weaker ones with a cortical back A. I would not recommend you doing this one at all because it really doesn't help you unless you're in the middle of combo in the air, which actually knocks them down. So you do something like this, something like that, that's really the only use you're using it, but you wouldn't be doing that one in the air. Or go back, A and C actually does a cross up move. If you do it really fast, you won't cross up, but if you do a delay enough, you will cross up, like you see right there. This move is pretty good for I mean, if you delay it enough, you won't cross up, but if you do it fast enough, you cross up. That's what I meant to say. That's all it is. You can't combo in after unless you call it an assist, and it does slide them pretty far, so you need a person who can hit really far, probably like a Gordell or something, whose assist hits really far. Cortical back B is the one you'll be mostly doing in your combos. It has a big radius to hit, and it does multi-hitting attacks. This one also brings your opponent and you into the air, which is way more better. Hitting A after it is one of the ones you won't be really hitting a lot unless you're trying to end the combo, but it's still really good. They just get some damage off. Of course, go back and hitting B after it actually does the lunging, which I request you doing the most, as this is a really good combo ender, at least right from the opponent. And if you wanted to, you can keep up the combos. I hit that wrong. And you can keep up combos, which is really good. Of course, go back and C is, you know, the cross up. That's really what it does. Now C, cortical back C is where all the variations come in really strongly. Cortical back C is her only anti-air move, where her head is she's invulnerable from air attacks, which kind of sucks that you have to waste bar for this, but this also has some really good pretty good moves that come after it. Cortical back and hitting A after it actually leads into a sliding knockdown, which looks normal, like the normal versions, but also you can combo right after it, which is really good, which you can get some extended combo just by doing this. Cortical back and just hitting B after it really doesn't do anything. You don't get no uniqueness. You can't really combo after it. It's really, you can, but it's really hard to hit. I just hit that now, so I just learned you can, but I wouldn't request you doing this, as hitting the A version actually slides your opponent to you, while this one leaves them a little farther than normal, but it's still alright move. Hitting C after it actually crosses them up, and you can get a combo after it. It's really probably the hardest timing in yet with these moves, but mind the fact that it does use 2 bars. Now we're gonna go into her semblance. This is her, one of her main, well, not her main abilities, but one of her, what makes her unique to all the Ruby characters, that they all have semblances. Blake's is clones or shadows. If you've seen with the vanishing and stuff, she uses a clone that pushes her, and that clone vanishes, and then she really appears somewhere else. This is using dust that we use in the show, which is technically just like elemental rocks, and it enhances your abilities. She has her downs, and she gets a down rock, down shadow, and down fire. The stone clone is what you would think it is. It's like a wall, and it protects you from one hit. Better for projectiles, because I'm pretty sure like Hakumen, if I summon Hakumen right now and he did something like this, and I was close enough to the rock, Hakumen would just hit both of us, and the rock wouldn't protect me. But if Hakumen had a projectile and it would project the projectile at me, it would protect me from one hit from that projectile, which is still pretty good. So someone like an S or a Ruby who will just range you out, you can throw this out and then try to catch them with your whip, or throw this out, and you will protect it from your rock. Down B is probably one of the useless, and I don't know why they even added this into the game. It just makes you, those in a shadow clone, if your opponent hits it or your assist hits it, you become invisible. Now, you would think this is really overpowered, but again, you become invisible for 0.0 seconds, and then you're back to normal. And I'm pretty sure if you leave the cloud, you're not invisible anymore. So this really isn't useful at all. If you get hit, the shadow clone goes away, so it really, I don't understand why they did this. You probably can get some very small mix-up with it as you're kind of invisible, but then again, you can't get hit and you can't leave the cloud, so you can't do too much with this. Down C uses a bar meter, but it's still one of the better clones, as this is I call the punish clone, where you don't want to hit any buttons when you're doing this. You summon a fire clone, you can do this in the air or the ground. You can also do the shadow clone in the ground, air and the ground, and it just sits there. Now if your opponent hits it or your assist hits it, it activates the fire and it explodes, which is really good. It also on a set timer, so if you just let it sit there, it will explode by itself. Now this is really good for a finish after finishing a combo, especially if you have like time from the frame advantage, like you ended it with an assist or you're on the ground faster than them. You can throw this out, and then when they're trying to recover, they cannot hit you, because if they throw any type of attack, they're just going to be hit with fire, and they can't regen the health that they just lost. So you can throw this out and then start going to some type of mix-up, like a low-high mix-up, or just something crazy, try to grab them. You also can get some kind of cool combos with this if you time this right. Time that wrong. Something like that, if you timed it right, then you can get some crazy combo with it. But this is mostly wake up punishing and corner like trapping assist, as this makes them not attack, even DPing if they went to DP. Hakumen doesn't have the right DP, but it's just gonna hit them and hurt themselves, which is no matter what they're gonna do, they're just gonna be hit by a shield of fire that they cannot recover. Now I say not recover, but Agnes, if you did not know, Persona characters lose health from getting hit from their thing, so that's why she still had some run health, because she got the Persona took the hit, and Personas can recover their health. With those, we're gonna go over her distortions and her astrals. Now her distortions are okay, they're not the worst, but they're not the best. Especially of course go back BC is not the best. Of course go back forward BC is probably one of her better ones, as it shoots a projectile full screen and breaks smaller projectiles, which is really good. Doing this in Resonance Blaze actually does some pretty good chip damage, and it also shoots for 2 projectiles, which does more damage. This is one of her weaker damaging versions, as the other distortion does more damage. I'll show you later. But if you go into something like this does pretty good tick damage for attack. It's not as big as Jin's as you would think it is, since it looks the same, but it still does pretty good tick damage. Of course, to go back, BC is just an attack with a rapid move attack. This is her damaging one, which you mostly want to be ending combos in, since it does more damage. Not by a lot, but more than the projectile. In Resonance Blaze, you would think what it does, it just does more damage. Nothing special with it. This does more damage and more of an animation. And that's really it. With her astral, it's just more of a slash, and that's right in front of her, and it's not that hard to hit. The ending is kind of but the beginning part is pretty nice and it has a pretty good background to it. With that, we have gone over everything with Blake, and now we're gonna go over how to play her. With Blake, she is more of a person who controls space and makes your opponent rethink their choices. As if they try to range you out, you try to get closer with your whip and try to get them with the point, or you will throw out their the stone and then counter their hit. So they try to throw a projectile at you, go over the stone while they hit the projectile, the stone, and then do something like that. You want to control space, and naturally, if people are trying to run up on you, you try to hit them with this or something crazy. If they try to hit you with a random attack, you just throw the fire, you throw the stone, and you just try to counter them. Blake also has a lot of very confusing moves like this with the cross up. She has a low that's plus on block, and she has a pretty good projectile, which is pretty good. She also has some crazy overheads which are really confusing, and that's what she's about. She's about controlling the face and then making your opponents rethink what they're doing. She also has, as I said, the corner blocking resets where you throw this out as they're recovering and they really can't do anything about it. They're just gonna have to take it, and if they try to hit you, they're just gonna be hit and they can't recover that type of health, which is really good, which makes her one of the top characters. Most people don't use this, but if you use this a lot, then you're just gonna be locking on your opponent with a lot of these. What makes her such a good player is that she can do very long combos. They're really hard to hit, but once you hit these, they are really good. She can lead and she can anchor, which is not bad at all. Actually, if you want to just she can play so many different roles. Other than ranging out your opponent, she can play rushdown character, where she can just try to get into your opponent, and then when she's in there, she do some crazy combos. And then, as I said, when they're in the corner or when they're on the ground trying to get up, you throw this out and then try to cross them up and just go into another combo. She can play just space out tool like a Hazama, or like, let's say, Gordao, where she just plays the spacing game and wait until your opponent does something stupid and it hits them with a long range attack, and then you go into a full string combo. Something crazy like that. She can play just like any type of role you need other than space ranging out, because again, she doesn't need ranging moves, but she can play so many different roles. She's not the best as a support if you're trying to just use her for assist, like if you had a Ruby and she just needed someone assisting, or like a Yang, someone who relies on supports. Blake is not that type of role, but Blake does not need assist to complete her. She might need some assist that have some good range on her attacks, but other than that, Blake can pretty much do a lot with herself, especially her combos, which we will go into right now. Some of the combos, I'm gonna go to a easy, intermediate, and extreme, not extreme, but expert combo, just for people to do something simple. So something simple, you don't have to do that. Just I'm calling this simple and I can't even do it. But something just simple like that. You can end it with a distortion. You can just knock them down after you do this, and then just like go into a reset, like I said, like something like this, and then cross them up. There's a lot of things you can do with that. This is a really simple combo. Just hit A, of course I go back B, and then B again, and then hit assist if you want to go end it with a distortion. Something like that. Just pretty good damage for a simple combo. Now this is more of her bread and butter, something like this, which is more intermediate. Something crazy like that, or you can do something like this. Something like that, which is a more intermediate. This is more of her bread and butter combos. Something like this, where she uses her her edge of the blade to knock up her opponents and do crazy stuff. Something also like this, where she goes into a full auto combo. This is more simpler and more easier, which you can go from easy and this is more between intermediate and easy, where it's the intermediate combo, but just doing less with the rope. Something extreme, which I'm still learning, is something like this. something crazy like that. And if you hit at the right time, you also can you can get your raffle down. So if I do something like this, see if I can actually hit this. Why am I not super jumping? It's not super jumping, guys. Why am I not super jumping? When you're on the way down, you can rappel and stuff like that, which is more of the expert stuff, which I'm still learning how to do, but stuff like that is the more extreme combos. People who really fit with Blake or Gordeau, which I'm using a lot with. People who can capitalize on her ranging and help out with that. Someone like Hyde, who has pretty good block strings as block string lockdown, as Blake actually doesn't really do good with block strings. As I said before, her auto combo leads her into the air, which kind of messes up some opponents, but it doesn't really help her out. Something like this leaves her at range from not doing a lot of block strings. If you do something like this, you're just gonna, that's gonna be in your block string. So Hyde helps with that. Also with his projectile and assist really helps. Also Ruby, her projectile, her block string is pretty good. She's not the best partner to have for Blake, but she's not the worst either. So just people who can capitalize on that ranging that she does in controlling space and help out with that, just strengthen her. You also can have someone who does the opposite and helps her with a spot she's weak at. So someone like, let's say a number New 13, which has mostly ranging moves. Blake is controls the space, and then people who like to play safe and far, then you go pull out New 13, or play Yang or Chie, who does the opposite of Blake, who controls space, is just more of a rush down. And then they just have, now you have a rush down character and a spacing character. I like the two spacing characters combined. That strengthens Blake, that's more of a strength for Blake, because then you just have two spacing characters. With type of characters, you just want to poke at your opponent and do some chip damage. You don't want to be going only for combos, because again, you're controlling that space, you're controlling how the game plays. If you want to play rush down, then make them play rush down and just make them punish them for that. If they're just trying to air attack you, do some crazy stuff like this, or the fire attack, and punish them for what they're doing. If you want to play rush down, you can play rush down with Blake, as she has the range to get in. And then once you're in, that's it for you. And then you can just get them with the cross, as I said. You can get them with the lows that they don't even know about. That's plus the neutral and block. You can get them with the overhead. You can get the full screen overhead, that if you practice that enough, which I still need to practice on. For some reason I can't hit, but crazy stuff like that. But without further ado, I hope you liked that video. I might have gone a little too long with the overview and the last part with Blake, but I really hope you liked me with the longer version of the tutorial guide, and I'm hoping that you will like this. I might go back after I do the Ruby characters. I might go back to the shorter ones, because these are long, and then you have to watch the whole. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but you're just losing out on parts. But without further ado, I hope you liked it. Button freak out. See you guys later.